Hi there. You're probably wondering why I showed an unboxing of the Orange Valve Tester Mark II when I've previously done a review, and when the title of this video is why I no longer have an Orange Valve Tester. Essentially, when I did the previous video, I mentioned the fact that some of the screen printing had started to rub off, and I mentioned this to Orange, and they immediately arranged for the tester to be collected and a replacement provided. And it is indeed that replacement which I'm showing you unboxing. Since then, that replacement has also gone back to Orange, whereas the first tester I was happy with the results in the main. The second tester I was extremely unhappy with quite a few of the results. For instance, if you remember the JJ tubes which I tried in my ROX 15 build, which although sold to me as a match pair, were vastly unmatched when it came to trying to use them in the amp, and this was borne out by the Orange Valve Tester, the first Orange Valve Tester. However, the second Orange Valve Tester rated them as a matched pair, which they definitely were not. So I was a bit concerned, and I went on to then retest a number of the valves that I'd previously tested before I went forward and carried on testing the rest of my stash. And the results I got were quite confusing. 20 of the 32 power valves had changed their matching value. 19 of them were lower, one was higher. Of the previously 10 matched pairs, 4 were now measuring on the second tester as unmatched, though 3 pairs of previously unmatched pairs were now showing as matched. One of the 6v6s I had a fail code of 1, which is heater current below minimum value for the valve type, but on the second tester it had a fail value of 3. which is a pento test. Anode current exceeds maximum value for the valve type. The 1287 that I had, which showed as thermal runaway, still shows as thermal runaway on both testers, but it's clocked in several hundred hours of trouble-free use in my valve monoblock, so that's still being in use. Preamp valves seem to have fared a bit better, with 8 of the 11 tested retaining the same scores. Of the remaining 3, 2 had 1 triode down a point and 1 had 1 triode higher. So essentially I was a bit perturbed with the results I was getting. And if you remember the new old stock Russian equivalent EL84 match pairs that were new, hadn't been used, that the first tester showed as worn with a match rating of 4, the new tester also showed them as worn but with a match rating of 3. So again, a whole point down, although they were matched. Although I have recently put a pair of those into use in an amp, and they're doing remarkably well for a so-called worn valve. So I then went back to Orange and said I was unhappy with this valve tester as well. So again, they arranged to have it collected, but this time they issued me with a refund and said when they receive it back, what they'll do is they'll pass it on to their development team for testing. On the 4th of October I got a message saying that the 2 testers had been passed on to the development team for test and evaluation. So I left it with them, didn't think anything more of it. Over a month later I still hadn't heard anything, so I sent an email to the 2 people who'd previously contacted me from Orange and said, any news, any information from the development team? And that was on the 6th of November. We're now at the 19th of November and I still haven't heard anything back from anybody at Orange, so I don't think I'll be getting another Orange valve tester. Although it has to be said, I would probably have been quite happy to have continued using the first valve tester if it had been either recased or if they'd have knocked a certain amount off and then sent it back to me. But as it stands, I can't really, personally, hand on heart, recommend the Orange valve testers. Now I don't know why there was a difference. I mean, it does give warnings in the manual about environmental considerations, but the tests I carried out on the second valve tester I did 3 times in a row at different times of day, slightly different temperatures in the room. The room is reasonably well temperature controlled and I have a thermometer that lets me know what it is, and in all 3 instances I got exactly the same results that I've just mentioned. So that's it. No more Orange valve tester for me, which is a shame really, because I was quite looking forward to it, to owning it long term. The other thing I will mention about it was that a video was put up by the Hi-Fi Collective using or utilising some of the add-on modules, and I must say I was rather unimpressed by the way they fitted onto the base module or the base unit. It seemed rather a poor design, and really they needed to be locked into place rather than just having the octal socket holding the module in place. and that seemed to be quite a bad design to me as well. So again, not something I could particularly recommend, although if you are looking for them, Hi-Fi Collective are selling them, I think, nearly £40 cheaper than, well, they were the last time I looked, nearly £40 cheaper than direct from Orange, so that would be a better way to go. So that's the end of the saga for Orange valve testers as far as I'm concerned. The reason I haven't been posting any videos for the past month or so is because after getting on for 24 years of ownership of my current motorcycle, I'm thinking of changing it. But after 24 years, it's going to be a hard act to follow, and I'm having trouble deciding what to replace it with. In my 24 years of ownership, I'm sorry if this is of no interest to valve aficionados or not, but my bike I've had, I say, for nearly 24 years now, apart from consumables, brake pads, service items, has had one fork seal replaced, and that's the only repair it's ever had in that entire time of ownership. So I'm really used to using it, although it weighs 280 plus kilos and my knees are getting a bit shot, and I'm finding that I would really like a lighter weight motorcycle. I don't do a lot of motorcycling, but I would like to keep my hand in, so I'm currently scouring around looking for something lighter that I might like to own. So that's everything for this video. Goodbye, Orange Tester. Hopefully I'll get a new motorcycle soon. Goodbye.